Hi everyone and welcome to Mashinky. This is the 4th era and I figured I'd start out my 3rd time through Mashinky with a signaling tutorial. I know I need one, and I'm gonna make this layout here, whatever you want to call it. It's a little crazy. Includes a 3-way diamond plus crossovers, basically 14 trains serving 3 towns. So let's get right into it and see how I did it. I've got the first line set up. This is the first quest. It wants me to run a line between Bristol and Abersville. I've run the line. I've already doubled up the station, and I've got my crossovers on either side of the station so I can show what signaling is required to get a bunch of trains running on it and to help show some of the signaling. I've looked at some other tutorials on the YouTube, and most of them don't work anymore, or the person recording it had issues with the signaling. There are some oddities to it. Some of them are explained and some of them aren't, but they all have workarounds, and my goal here is to get the signaling down and then enjoy the game without really worrying about the signaling, because I think overall the game's fun and we can forgive any little glitches because it's early access. The biggest issue, and I wanted to cover this really quick before I get into it, the biggest issue with signaling when you have a crossover is that the game doesn't recognize that your train can't go from this track right to this track. So if you don't have signals blocking off all 4 tracks, then you can actually block yourself, because if for instance, if a signal's here, your train will get stuck because it follows this path around and back down. And that makes for some complications, but other than that, everything works just fine. So let's demonstrate how we do the signaling here. So to do the proper crossover signaling, you make them one way, and I just made these the wrong way, excuse me. There we go. And then this is to get back to the right side, and I need to explain how I have my lines set up here. There we go. So the way I have everything set up is that for the most part it's right side driving. So this is the so whenever you're looking at the tracks, the right side is going in this direction and the left side is coming in this direction. Except for at the stations, I want to put as many trains into a station at once, so I allow them to cross over so that 2 trains can load into the station at the same time. This requires some special signaling for this to happen, and like I said, I've got to block off all sides of the crossover so that the signals work correctly. So I did that one. And let's go over here and let's do this one as well. Now again, we're coming in on the right side, so the signals to get over to the other side, this will be this direction only, and then over here this direction, and over here this direction. Now to put a signal down, you click once and then you can click on either side of the center line to determine, like for instance, if I click here it reverses it. If I click here it reverses it. If I click in the middle, it sets it as a 2-way signal, which I don't want. Okay, and then on this track, if you're coming out of this station, you've got to get over to this track to get out of here. So this is a 1-way this way, and I screwed up here and reversed this one instead. There we go. So right, this way, this way, this way. So that's good. Now, the other thing we want to do, because I'm going to load this up with trains to show how it works, is that we want to make sure that outside of these blocks, that our signal spacing is room enough for our longest train. I'm going to do 3-car trains, and that's the spacing that I'm going to worry about. So to do a 3-car train, and I'm guesstimating here, is about this long. Okay, that'll fit a 3-car train right there. So I'm going to space these signals out to fit a 3-car train. Yeah, I think that's about right. Okay. And then let's load this thing up with some trains and show how this works. I'll just we'll set the speed. The speed's actually on play. I forgot to pause it here. So that's good. I put 2-way signals here just so the trains, once they're given orders, can get out of the depot, and I can create another one. The 2-way signals here are fine. if you need to send a train back to the depot, just make sure another train's not waiting here, or it's going to get stuck and you're going to have to send them both back to the depot. So let's just create some trains real quick. Like I said, 3 cars. And then the orders, and I always zoom in and then have to zoom back out. The orders are first station here, second station here, and you can go. How many trains? We got 5 trains. We'll stop at 6 trains here. First station here, second station here, and you can go. There we go, 6 trains. So let's take a look at this full speed now, and you can see our trains. They're not doing too bad. The blocks are mostly clear, so they can keep moving. You occasionally will have a pause as we get, but you get two trains in at a time. This guy's going to have to stop, and he can go as soon as this guy can. And you know, the more trains we add, the more crowded it gets. But with 6 trains, this setup works pretty well. So I can even crank this up to 8 trains, and let's do that. And nope, you can go. Okay. So there we have it. We have 8 trains, all sharing this track, and I don't know if you can see it. Let's zoom into one station so it's easier to see how the signaling is working. Again, I think normally you wouldn't need this many signals, but you do, at least in this version of the game, just due to the fact that it doesn't recognize the crossing correctly. And I can demonstrate that by having trains get stuck if I remove these signals on the back side. In my opinion, you only need signals to protect the diamond. You don't need signals going in the reverse direction. So let me demonstrate how it's not going to work correctly if I remove this signal and I remove this signal. So now we have signals protecting the diamond, but immediately we get stuck. And let me pause it because that's loud. So, and the reason we get stuck is, like I said, it doesn't recognize the corners. So this guy won't clear up this block because I believe he sees himself. He thinks this block is full of train, even though it's not. It's protected here and here, but this signal's been removed, and so has this. So we go up and down and around, and it's blocked. So my contention is, and let's test this out, is that putting either one of these signals back in will allow this guy to go. So if I put this signal here and make it a one-way signal, now this guy can go because you can't get back. He can't get back to himself. But this guy's still going to get stuck. I'm not sure. It could be that all we need is this exit signal. Let's go ahead and start it again. And yes, now they're moving. So let's see if we can keep moving, missing this signal. It could be that that works okay. Well, it's an optimization in this case, because while this guy can escape, this guy had to wait until this guy cleared, because again, he saw this engine in this block because it saw this as a block. It kind of makes sense. It may not be a bug. It kind of makes sense because, well, it doesn't recognize this as one way. So to prevent an accident, it says, oh, you better stop because we don't know if this guy's coming this way or not. Well, we kind of do, because this track is run one way, but for some reason, it's not recognizing that here. So if I stick a signal in here and make it one way, that's how it used to be, now we won't have that kind of contention. This guy is going to be able to escape and come all the way down here. Well, okay, we've got somebody in the way. Get out of there. But he's going to be able to come out now, even though this guy's in the block, because it's protected by this signal. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, regardless of whether it's a bug or not, that's the way it works. And as long as you signal like that, everything's fine. And now let's see if we can screw it up. And I guarantee you I will, or I have in the past, because I want to connect Walsall to this line. But anytime you have a bunch of signaling in, you've got to make sure that the distance between every two signals can fit a train, because if it can't, and you have opposing traffic, your trains will get stuck. So let's get ready to do that right now. Alright, so we're going to build into Walsall. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a station, and I'm going to be, I'm going to do another two platform station. And I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this with the waiting room just so we make sure to get the catchment area. Okay. And then we have to do the tracks. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build enough track out here to be able to do the crossover. And unlike what I did down here, it actually benefits everybody involved to have this crossover as close to the station as possible. So there's the crossover. Let's see what we want to do here. So we know that we want to run possibly, I want to run to every city. So this city needs to run into here, and that's good. And we need to remove, well, we're not going to remove any signals yet. And then we know we want to come to here, and I'm already going to go ahead and make this a little easier on myself by moving this out here and then over to here. So I have a little bit of extra running room there. Okay, now here comes the part that can really go wrong fast. I want to be able to bring this over to here, and that creates a crossover. And we know from our experience over here that we need a lot of signals for a crossover to work correctly. What's even better is that we want to get from this city to this city potentially, and so to do that we need to take one of these, and then we have this nasty three-way diamond that is completely unrealistic, but let's see if we can work through this with signaling. So we know we're going to have to put signals on each side. So this is one way in this direction, and the exit is also one way in this direction. This is one way in this direction, as well as the exit. And this is one way in this direction, as well as the exit. Oops. There we go. Okay. So right, we got this direction, yes. This direction, yes. This direction, okay. And then, of course, so you can get from here to here onto these tracks. This track can, of course, get to here. It can also get to here. This track can get over to here and can also get down to here. And this can get out to here. Now, what kind of signaling situations do we have? Well, it appears that this is almost enough space for 3 cars. This certainly isn't. This is, if a train approaches these, that'll do, but if it stops here, if it ends up having to stop here, it's gonna break the world there. So let's delete this signal. So we've got these, but is there enough room for all the trains to get by? So if I'm coming this way, I could get stuck here, but that's okay. I'm not crossing anything. If I'm coming in this direction, potentially I'm going to be let through this signal, and I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to be crossing the diamond, which means any train that gets stuck, this train can't be stuck in a place where it's going to hit a signal. So the next set of signals we want to put in have to be far enough back that that's not going to happen. And this should be plenty enough back. We know that's one way. And we want this train to be able to get out of here. I think this signal can be removed. Yes. And then this, we need another signal here. Okay, and so that's, we know this is one way in both directions, and we can clear, this is protected, and then we want to be able to get out of here and clear this track. So we need to make sure we have enough track to clear. That should be plenty. Not necessarily optimized, but that's not what we're going for this first time around. And let's go ahead and turn on our trains and get the simulation running again. And we don't have anybody going to this town yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Engines, we'll get one of you, and we'll get 1, 2, 3 wagons. And the orders are going to be, you will go from here to here. Off you go. And then we'll make another train. And your orders will be to go from here is the first station and to here is the second station, and you can go. What do you think? Am I gonna get into any wrecks? Let's see what we got going on here. This is where I'm worried. So this guy is going, he wants to go over here, I believe. And he should be next. Not yet. Why are you waiting? Oh, I think we're stuck. I think we're stuck. So why are we stuck? So let's take a look at this. So already we don't work. So why are we stuck? Because this guy is waiting for this block to clear, and this guy is in this block. Because I don't have a signal here. And if I put a signal here, I don't think we'll get stuck. So let's do that. Let's put a signal right, not a tunnel, a signal. Let's put a signal right here. You are one way only. And that will free up this train to go. And we fixed one sticky situation. And do we have enough space here? If a train has to wait here, this signal may need to be backed off. But I don't think we have any terrible situation yet. It is kind of nasty that that doesn't stop till here. I could potentially fix this with a chain signal. If I chain these two signals, I could potentially fix that. That'll be an optimization I'll try in a minute. Until then, we seem to be going okay. So let's add some more trains and see if we continue to move okay. And you can start. Okay. So we have 14 trains running. And so far no accidents, and so far everybody is spaced out pretty well. Well, I say that. There's a heck of a traffic jam, but nobody's paused for long enough that we get a warning. This track could be optimized more with more signals. Let's see, you're protected there, but you can't go until this clears, so you can at least get into the block. Aha! So, oh, nope, we're not stuck. I thought sure we were going to get stuck there. Let me go ahead and put a couple more signals in. They're not mandatory, but it helps free up this block a little more. I think this should be enough. And I have to make these. This is one way this way. 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 And yeah. Right, and then we've got a lot of traffic going on here. So the next optimization is going to be chained signals. So now I want to put in, now that I've got everybody moved out of the way, going in the wrong direction, I want to put in some chain signals. So let's delete these signals that I put in. Just this one and this one. And let's put in chain signals. And you will go, I think it's just one chain signal. So you'll go here and you are in one direction, and then it's a regular signal for the exit. So that way you stop before the diamond. And we want to do the same thing here. So I didn't have to delete both of them. We want to do the same thing here. We want to put a chain signal at the front of the diamond so that nothing stops on the diamond. And then the same thing here. A chain signal in front of the diamond so that trains stop in front of the diamond. And then we tell everybody that they can go. You can go, you can go, go. And everything should start to clear out. And the change signals in front of the diamond should be working as expected, right? Famous last words. And that means this can also be optimized with change signals. And that will speed these intersections up a little bit. Right, because you're blocking. Perfect. A perfect use of chain signals. So let's do that. And so now that we've got our chain signals put in at all our crossovers, things might go a little faster. Maybe. Let's just stare at this mess. So you had to stop because you got a green and then it turned red again because somebody was in this block, which is interesting. So I could potentially optimize this by putting another signal here. Is that long enough for a train? I believe it is. So let's do that. Let's put another, just a regular signal in here. And just a one-way signal. And everybody's stopping and starting. You can go. You can go. You're kind of blocked out. And you're blocking both ways. You can't really get around the corner, which makes sense. There's a potential optimization there, but I think at this point you can see how signaling works and what you have to do to get these signals correct, and how to use change signals, which is a bonus that I actually didn't plan on doing this time around. But for crossovers, definitely you can see how change signals can benefit, especially because we're required to put signals on both the entrance and the exit of every one of these crossovers. Or I should say diamonds, since this is technically a crossover. But yeah, we're not stuck yet. We're just paused for an unusually long time. Okay, you can go now. You can go. But nobody's blocking the diamond, which is key to not getting stuck. And there you go. I don't recommend anybody set up a line that looks like this if you're playing the game, but this worked out well for the signaling tutorial, including chain signals. Let's jump to realistic mode, and here's the chaos that is these lines. we got enough trains here, don't we? Slow it down to just the regular play speed, and it's crazy, but it works. And that's all that counts. Does a three-way diamond actually exist anywhere in the world? I'm sure it's got to exist somewhere, right? Maybe even a four-way exists somewhere. But for crying out loud, build a bridge or something, or just redirect the track around so you don't have to worry about this mess. But it works, and hopefully it helps out. I know it helped me out going through this, and hopefully it helps you out too. So that's it for this time. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you later.